Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and you're listening to Going In Raw, baby.
This is the glorious one, Bobby Roode, and you're watching Going In Raw.
What's up, it's your girl, Sasha Banks, the Legit Boss, and you're watching Going In Raw. You like that?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, taped live at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, and of course available wherever audio podcasts can be found. Be sure to leave us a rating, review, or a comment if you're listening to us right now. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button. Let's get this one up to 600 likes. And if you're on the Twitch, hey, everybody. Yeah, so we also have bonus content. If you like Going In Raw,
yes.
This is the first time you listen and you get through the episode and you're like, man, what if I want to listen to what these guys have to say, but not about wrestling? What would you recommend they listen to, Larson?
Oh, then by all means, the award-winning Ask Steven Larson, which goes up every single Tuesday.
That's right, and you can get that. Friendo Club TV, 5 bonus episodes every single week. Today, we power ranked, each of us, 5 ideas that Hulk Hogan might have pitched to Vince McMahon for his return to the WWE. We have some new patrons in the house. Kelsey Seymour and Sam Vopny. Fabian Estorga, thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
We absolutely appreciate it. So yeah. Anyways, you can get that. You can get the bonus content on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a Twitch sub, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Of course, if you become a YouTube channel member, that works as well. We had a brand new episode of Monday Night Raw tonight, of course. So that's what we're gonna review right now. And we had a crowd of people.
There were people there, that's correct.
And so we found this out from Fightful Select. They're great. Go check them out. And we got a thing saying, word is that they're bringing a bunch of the NXT kids over to populate the crowd. So they had plexiglass sort of where the barricade is. They put plexiglass up as well, and they had various NXT, like no main eventers were there, like Dexter Lumis, the Undisputed Era, Velveteen Dream, none of them to be found, but many names that we've seen on TV were there. Caden Carter, Casey Catanzaro, Rick Bouge,
Malcolm Bivens was there.
Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir were there. Shotzi Blackheart was there.
I didn't notice Dijakovic, though. Did you see him?
I did not see Dijakovic. I kind of think that he's too big of a name to have been there.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe
he was asked and it was like, Monday's Arby's night. I like to watch Raw, but not that close. The funny thing is, I was, a lot of the people on Twitter were saying, why don't they give these people some seats to sit in? Yeah, I know. It just seemed really uncomfortable. They had to stand all that time?
No.
Watch 3 hours of Raw?
I did notice this. Behind where they're sitting, there were a bunch of chairs lined up. So my assumption is, well, there's 2 things. Number one, my assumption is during commercials, if somebody really wanted to sit down, they could sit down. My other thing is, it's only 3 hours long. I'm like 40, out of shape, and I spent 3 hours standing up at an Annie DeFranco concert, music that I'm not really even into, a couple months ago. So it's to ask them to stand up for 3 hours is not that big of a deal. But I kind of get the feeling
they're doing Raw and SmackDown today too, I think.
They did SmackDown while Raw was airing.
Hours.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they had plenty of time to rest.
Yeah, it just seemed
they're
awkward.
Fine.
It felt like it was they were NPCs from a video game because they were all standing up. It just didn't feel like a natural setting for a wrestling show. Actually, the one thing that bugged me, there's one thing that bugged me about having the crowd, and it's a small quibble, but I'll bring it up. Since we're familiar enough with the NXT talents and where they reside on the heel face spectrum, it bugged me for heels to be cheering faces. It bothered me.
Okay, but how? Okay, so I'm assuming we can point out a couple: Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, right?
Yeah, Malcolm Bivens was all upset with Seth Rollins.
Okay, but Malcolm Bivens, we've seen him twice on TV, 2 times. And he's barely a heel. I've seen way more of him on social media where he seems like a pretty funny guy.
Oh, he's hilarious, but the character presented on NXT TV is that of a heel manager.
Give me another example, though, because that's literally the only three I could think of.
That's it.
That's it.
I said it was a small quibble.
I liked it. I thought it was great, man. I thought that it, you know what? It was like middle of the episode. I was thinking, like, what does this remind me of? Because it's sort of a bit different from AEW. It reminded me it had more of a club atmosphere because of all the lasers. I was like, this is kind of cool. It's like a small indie show. It's like bar wrestling. I've never been to bar wrestling before, but I've seen pictures and video. And it's like, oh, okay, but it's like bar wrestling, but it's not like at like a straight up bar. It's like more of like a club because there's like lasers and stuff. I thought it was cool, man. I thought it was neat. I thought
it was cool. It was good to have this atmosphere, and it was good to have. It seems like I don't know if it was a matter of them miking them differently. AEW, but AEW's always had issues miking the crowd. You could hear more of the crowd.
Yeah. I did. I liked that about it. The crowd came in handy at the end too. I thought the main event, segment, the last little bit, the pull apart brawl was really good. I actually thought Raw, all in all, was pretty damn good tonight.
It was a decent show.
I thought that was a pretty big step.
There really weren't any sore spots where. I don't know if you heard that.
You got a ghost?
Someone just drove by with their bass blasting, shaking my windows.
My neighbor blasts his music quite a bit. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not quite a bit. The other day, it was like 1:00 in the morning on like a Wednesday. It was like last week. And like he was blasting, I don't know, it was like 94.7 or something out in his backyard till like 1 in the morning. I was like, I know you got kids over there. And I don't really care because it was like my main thing is I'm laying there and I've got like, several walls and several doors separating. But it was really loud. And like I could tell from the bass line and like kind of the drum beat, and that's kind of what comes through the most. So I was trying to piece together what the song was.
Do you know why lower frequencies travel farther than higher frequencies?
Interesting. That makes all the sense in the world because the rest of the song wasn't getting to me. So then I was like, oh, that's "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer. I know that song.
Yeah.
That's "American Idiot" by Green Day. I know that song.
Like when you're going to a concert and you get there early and you hear sound check.
That's
and
wild.
As you're walking up, you don't hear any of the treble. You just hear the bass, the bass drum.
Well, there you go.
And as you walk closer, you get more of the higher frequency.
The show kicked off with Kevin Owens' show, and his first guest was Asuka, Raw Women's Champion. He congratulates her for winning the title. She starts chanting Becky. And then he tosses to video from last week of Nia attacking her and Kairi Sane.
Yes.
Asuka starts to go off on Nia Jax. She's interrupted by Charlotte's music, which I believe Kevin Owens responded by saying, I didn't even invite her.
He did. And then there's a couple nice little moments. Charlotte's about to get in the ring and she waves Kevin Owens over to lower the ropes for her. It was subtle, but still very effective from a character standpoint.
Preceding Asuka coming out, too, I thought Kevin Owens did a really good job. Like, he was the person to go out there and introduce the crowd. Like, hey, here's what's going on. It's the future of WWE. They're out here in the crowd. I thought he was like the perfect person for that. You know what I mean? Like, because he's been there before.
Yeah.
Not really in developmental, but,
then Charlotte's like, I think like a feather from her robe came off and Kevin Owens tries to give it back to her. But anyway, she tells Asuka that the Raw Women's title should have been handed to Charlotte. Reminds Asuka that every time that they have faced off, Asuka has lost. Could be some foreshadowing there. Tells her she needs to manage her expectations. Out comes Natalya next. This was great. Kevin Owens just starts dumping everything out of the ring. All the signs, all the furniture, everything. Because last week, Natty had a temper tantrum and tossed all that stuff out herself.
Yeah, so Natty had an interesting episode tonight.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what that's all about.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So anyway, she apologizes to Kevin Owens for trashing his set. Charlotte's like, you're not going to get anywhere by kissing Kevin Owens' ass. And he's like, hey, it's perfectly fine. She's just apologizing to me. Let's see here.
And then she's like, I should have told Natty that she was irrelevant.
Yeah.
Now, next, Nia Jax is out. She asks all of them to stop talking because she's been the next Raw Women's champion. Owen says, well, I sense where this is going. He stepped out of the ring and stood on the apron. And Nia says, yeah, good idea. And then Nia tells Asuka that what she did to Kyrie last week is only going to be a fraction of what she does to her. Asuka gets in her face, and Kevin Owens just says, you probably shouldn't hit her in the face. You really shouldn't probably do that.
Yeah.
So of course Asuka hits her with the back fist. Brawl breaks out. Asuka stands tall in the ring.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
To end that segment.
Apollo Cruz had an interview. He seemed to have a pep in his step. He was like, I think Charlie asked him, are you ready mentally? And he said, tonight is the greatest night of my pro wrestling career because I'm winning the United States Championship. You're not supposed to tell us, the end of the match. Anyway,
call the shot, man. It's confidence.
Well, he was told that he was booked to win that night, and then he went out and spoiled it.
But maybe what Bret Hart used to say, he would never promise to win. When he was a face, he would never promise to win anything unless he knew he was going to win it. Because he didn't want to be a liar to his fans when he was a good guy.
Yeah, I'm not in that philosophy. I think as a face, regardless if you're told you're going to lose something, you should go out there and say, I'm going to win it. Projects confidence.
Well, you could say, I'm going to go out there and do everything I can to win the match. That's about effort. That's not a prediction.
You think Michael Jordan ever said, I'm going to go try to win this game? He's like, no, I'm going to win this game. And if anybody gave him any side eye, he'd make it personal, he'd put him on their list, and then he'd torch him.
But Michael Jordan, except for maybe Space Jam, was not a fictional character. These are fictional characters. And Bret Hart especially takes his character very seriously.
Michael Jordan played himself in Space Jam. He wasn't a fictional character.
I know, but it was a fictional depiction of Michael Jordan.
It was a fictional adventure, maybe. Maybe.
It wasn't a documentary. In my mind, the only way it could be not a fictional version of Michael Jordan is if it was a documentary film about basketball playing aliens invading the Earth.
Hey, do you think that any of those dudes dressed up in green screen suits made his personal list? He found a way to torch him at some point.
Only if they play in the pickup games after shooting stopped.
Could be. So we had Andrade versus Apollo Cruz up next. This was a relatively short match, for having a title change in it.
I know, and it felt like the ending didn't really... Not that I'm complaining that Apollo Cruz won. I'm not at all. It felt like the build to the finish was not much.
This just felt like Zelina Vega and Andrade had no juice today. Because everything was falling apart. Didn't the ref try to toss her and then she wouldn't go or something?
Well, she got knocked off the apron.
Oh yeah, okay.
And it was a situation where refs and trainers weren't trying to kick her out of the ringside area because she did anything wrong because they were worried about her well-being.
Yeah.
They wanted to get her checked out by medical.
She looked like she wanted to throw up.
But I'm guessing they did that spot early on where Cruz hit Andrade. Andrade selling the punch, falls back into the ropes. Zelina's on the apron. She takes the spill because it would motivate potentially Zelina later on not getting herself involved, maybe because she's hurt.
Yeah. Good point.
Maybe, who knows?
I think you're probably
right.
But
once that bump happened, Andrade, he wrestled with serious intensity from that moment on.
Yeah, no, he totally did.
I felt like he brought it. I just felt like they either shorted this match on time. It felt like they shorted this match on time while it was happening. Because the finish kind of came out of nowhere.
They made this. I don't know if it was I don't know if they did edit this. If they filmed it this afternoon, I kind of feel like they went. They did a live to tape, which would preclude any editing. But man, they really Apollo. Especially down the stretch here was on fire, and then he ended up winning with what was it?
It's the press slam and then the standing moonsault, standing shooting star press. Yeah. I think that was his finisher back in his indie days.
Yeah. It was rad. So he picked up the win. This is awesome for Apollo Cruz.
That was fantastic, man.
And he had just a terrific interview afterwards. I sort of called this going into it. And I think it's just because whenever they do these things where the rematch is kind of unmotivated and they seem to really like a guy, but they just want to skip over the part of him having to struggle to get a title. I know he lost that time because his knee got tweaked and everything, and he had to leave. He couldn't be in Money in the Bank, and I get that's a struggle, but it wasn't really a build. It was just he's out, and then now he gets his rematch. He's feeling pretty good. He wins it. But I loved his interview afterwards. It felt so genuine. I'm pretty sure it was. He says, when I first started my journey in WWE, People told me I couldn't do it, but I never gave up. 11 years of hard work and dedication, and I won my first title. He's been in WWE for a little while now, and you and I are both big fans of this guy.
Yes,
and
he's fantastic.
I really just want them to turn him heel now because I fear that boring babyface is not going to go well for him.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when he had nothing to work with and wasn't getting any mic time, yeah, but for me, with him, it's not necessarily what he's doing. And see, this makes sense. During the course of his promos or interviews, it was all the little stuff. Like he walked up to his interview early on. He seemed very natural, very casual. Exchanges brief pleasantries with Kayla, I believe. Leaves, does the same thing. Like he has a way of imbuing whatever he's doing and when he's given these interview opportunities with making him feel very natural just by how he carries himself. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if he can continue to do that, regardless of the scripts he's getting or whatever the promo material, if his generic babyface stuff, I feel like by the force of his own personality, which we're finally getting to see a bit, he can get over.
Yeah, he can, but I'll put it this way. I do kind of feel like... Okay, so I don't know what their motivation behind putting the title on him is. There could be any number of things. It could be that he has been... I mean, he has been doing really, really terrific work in the era now where there aren't a lot of people to spare. You know what I mean? Like, he's standing out because a lot of people are staying home. They don't have enough people. They don't have a lot of people, and he is really putting in the hard work. So he's standing out extra, right?
Yeah.
So it could be sort of a reward / hey, let's see what this is going to be. I feel like it's a combination of that and let's put the title on him and see what happens, which is dangerous because when it's, hey, let's see what happens, that doesn't mean we have something ready for this guy. It means now we're going to try and figure it out. That
doesn't work.
That almost never works.
Yeah,
and so
doesn't work.
if they keep up with the stuff like when he slapped the crap out of Andrade that time, that was like that little flash right there was I want Apollo. He doesn't have to be a bad guy, but he also can't be. I want him to have the cockiness that he should have because of his talents.
The problem with a lot of WWE baby faces isn't so much that they're good guys or even that they're generic, is that they're pushovers.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of baby faces are pushovers, and we don't want to root for someone who's a pushover.
And lately, he has not been portrayed that way.
Yes.
The slap to Andrade, even the time when he recovered from his injury after Money in the Bank on the Kevin Owens show, he came out with like an absolute intensity.
Yeah.
And that was really, really good stuff. It's just, they need to they need to give him the ball so that he can run with it, but also give him something to do,
I feel like if they have even a fraction of the confidence in him that they have in Drew, it seems plainly obvious they have a ton of confidence in Drew, and he's seemingly given a ton of leeway to just be himself.
Yeah.
If they give Apollo, based on what we've seen the last few weeks, that same opportunity, I think he's going to do really well for himself.
I think if they give him that opportunity, and I just hope they do. Middle of this match was funny because they interviewed on Angel Garza.
Yeah.
He said, the match is like the sex with women. to do
making love to a woman is what he said.
Making love to a woman. Oh, man.
And he tried to carry on the analogy, and I don't know if it made a whole lot of sense. Meanwhile, in the background, the screen back there, Andrade's like missing corner knees, getting thrown to the corner near falls.
How messed up was it during Apollo's celebration? They kept on going back to Andrade pitching a fit backstage. It's like, let the guy celebrate. Let him celebrate. And that's when I get concerned because they're not even... Dude, a month from now, or watch, at Backlash, I'm going to be sitting here talking about... Do you remember Apollo Cruz's celebration? How they wouldn't stop cutting back to Andrade? This is just to give Andrade some space to breathe, to do some cool stuff, to get the U.S. title back from Apollo at Backlash. Watch. That's going to suck.
Yeah, it is going to suck, but I would not be surprised if that happened.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to continue on with the rest of this recap. But before we do continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, Raycon. Larson, let me ask you something. When you're sitting there in front of your computer recording Going in Raw with me, or maybe even listening to some new jams, do you
I do that.
actually want to listen to what you're listening to, or do you want to listen to whatever your kids or wife are doing?
Well, you know me, Steve. When I'm working or if I'm listening to the newest, freshest jams, I want to concentrate on my work, on my jams, and that means I need a great pair of earbuds to make sure I actually hear what I'm trying to do or trying to listen to, those freshest, newest jams. But did I drop hundreds of dollars on a pair of earbuds? No. I checked out some wireless earbuds from Raycon. Raycon earbuds start at half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and they sound just as great as the other top brands you know.
Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet. With 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a compact, comfortable design that gives you a great noise-isolating fit.
And unlike some of those other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are stylish and discreet. That means no dangling wires or stems that distract me while I'm trying to record this here podcast or listen to the freshest jams. You've probably seen celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, J.R. Smith, and company co-founder Ray J wearing their Raycons. Now you can pick up a pair and see what the hype is all about.
That's right. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Right now, get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/raw. That's buy, B-U-Y, Raycon, RAYCON.com/raw for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/raw. I'm telling you, man, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, at the twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Get your Raycons. Pop them in and listen to Larson doing his weird music stuff right here.
You got that right.
And it's like a whole new world, man. None of this. Look at those wire. I use my Raycons for my jogs, not for the show. So I'm stuck. Look at this. I'm sitting here. I'm like getting choked out by my freaking wires.
Not me.
It's awful. And I look at you. You're the paragon of comfort. Anyways.
Comfort.
Continuing on, Seth Rollins had a promo. And he had his dudes behind him. Austin Theory, who's sporting some thematic gear. I'm sorry, man. I know you like the Buddy Murphy I Stand Seth Rollins gear from last week.
Great, man. I think just the color palette's fantastic.
I hated it. I'm glad that they went back to black and white. Austin Theory's got all day, but now it's in white on black gear. He looks thematically sound. I love it.
No, I like the stained glass look, but that's just me because I like it was colorful. I like that.
You like bright, shiny colors. And yet,
yeah, what's it to you?
Look at what's going on in my background, and then look at your Spartan background there.
Yeah, I'm in my bedroom, so I don't have carte blanche in terms of the decorations in here.
Oh, well. Oh, let me talk to my wife. She'll talk to you.
I swear, if you do that one more time.
Whoa, what?
This VHS
we never
player
see
that you
each
want to borrow
other.
from me?
Huh?
This VHS player that you want to borrow from me?
Oh, no.
I'm gonna destroy it with a hammer.
Oh, man, I don't want to pay $50 on eBay for something that probably ain't going to work.
Well, you better mind your P's and Q's.
You're going to destroy it with a hammer?
Yeah, out of spite.
Oh, man. You're going to be like, you can't touch this. All right, so anyway, Seth Rollins is like, tonight's a night for celebration because I'm better than I've ever been, and it's all thanks to one man, uno hombre, Rey Mysterio. And then they go to a package of Rey's eye being taken out by Seth Rollins. It's great.
And you can see he has his mask pulled off. You can see his entire face, too.
We've seen his face when he was in the Filthy Animals.
I know.
So Ray was chosen. He says Ray was chosen to be sacrificed, and he fulfilled his duty for the greater good. He can't imagine how painful it was for him. He can't imagine how poor Dominic felt watching at home. The fact that he brings up Dominic means they are eager to re-sign Ray, so much so they're going to have Dominic in another match on main roster, probably at Backlash. Maybe at SummerSlam, but probably at Backlash. He says he doesn't know what the future holds for Ray, but if that act was his final act as a WWE superstar, it was a courageous one. Side note, we're getting Rey Mysterio's retirement ceremony next week, hosted by Seth Rollins. WWE has said that.
Yeah, I saw something earlier today. There we go. It is from Sportskeeda.
What?
That
Wood is man. Oh, about Ray's contract?
No, about Seth being like spearheading his own creative. It was Tom Collahu was reporting it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool. It's great. His stuff was really great, especially the post-match stuff.
Yeah, that was really good.
Was so good. It was so good.
It was really good.
So anyways, he introduces Austin Theory as his newest disciple. Both he and Murphy understand what it's like to be appreciated, but with Seth, their ceilings are limitless. Buddy speaks up. He says, I needed guidance. He needed Seth to lead him in the future, and Austin was like, I thought I had friends when I came to Raw, but I found out I didn't. He's like, I don't even know how to speak Spanish. They kept on calling me perro. I had to look that up. They called me a dog. Then they beat me like a dog. Anyways, after that we had a Charlotte.
Next we had a Charlotte interview. She's asked what would becoming double champ mean. Of course, if she won the triple threat match tonight, she'd get a shot against Asuka. If she'd win that, she'd be Charlotte 2 belts. She says she's the most prolific champ. I don't remember if she said women's champion or just champion. It must be women's champion because John Cena has won more titles than she has. Prolific women's champion WWE history. She raises the bar for all the women. No one else compares to her. Enter Asuka, and then she tells Charlotte, "Red is not your color."
Asuka's great because she comes like rolling in, dancing, singing her own theme song.
Oh, so
and
good.
then she like yells some stuff in Japanese at Charlotte, and then she just in English says, "Red is not your color," and then continues on dancing out.
So good. After that, we get an Iconics promo. Peyton Royce tried to apologize for losing or causing them to lose their match last week. Billie Kay interrupts her, says that she has to apologize for slapping her after that. She's won any animosity between them. Pretty much they've done everything together. Some of them when they signed to WWE. Talk about how they were more or less overlooked as tag champions. In fact, they should still have the belts. I think they even said they didn't even have a title defense.
Yeah, that's what Peyton said.
This brings out Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Alexa's like, what are you talking about? You had every opportunity, you've blown it. And then Nikki's about to talk. Billy interrupts her, tells her just to stand there and look grateful. And then Nikki goes off, and it was great.
Oh, this was like this is the most promo I've ever seen from her, and it was the best promo I've ever seen from her.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Again, because it felt genuine.
Yeah, she was just yelling at him about how, like, she was. It was the cool thing about it too is that it kayfabe her sanity stuff. It was like, I came here and I was a mess. I was all over the place. I didn't have any friends. I was just trying to fit in, and I was a lunatic. And then the first person to really treat me with respect and reach out to me and straighten me out was Alexa Bliss. So she really started putting over Alexa Bliss, but she was talking about how hard it was. She's like, at least you two had each other. I just had myself. And I was a mess until I found Alexa. That's what real friendship is. It was really good stuff.
It was really good. And then the Iconics just beat him up.
Yeah.
That was their response. Beat him up.
Yeah. And then they held the tag titles high. This is cool, man. I like this. This is like a decent little feud going on right here.
It is. Stuff. And I'm happy that they're giving the Iconics some edge because that was kind of lacking their first run. As champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
making them more aggressive.
Yeah. There's like just something. There's a bit more pep in their step with this, the whole I accidentally slapped you kind of thing, or not accidentally, but in the heat of the moment. I don't know. They're just a little couple things to do, and that makes the difference.
Yeah, it does, and I feel like they're on the verge of becoming much more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Next, MVP's backstage. Lana steps up to him. MVP asks, "Is there something I can help you with?" She just stares, and then eventually says, "We need to talk." And MVP just says, "No, we don't," and he leaves.
MVP is kind of like the low-key MVP of the of the empty arena here, isn't he?
He's been so good.
He's been so good as a character and as a wrestler. Like, man, I never in a million years thought I'd be standing the crap out of MVP, but I totally am. He's great. After that, we had MVP's VIP lounge, and he said, "Welcome to VIP. I'm covering the tabs of all the NXT talents in attendance." Vince is probably thinking, they're not getting anything. They don't even have water out there. They have to stand all day long.
And then they can't even use the bathroom.
And then SmackDown too.
I've given them diapers. Soiling themselves.
Soiling themselves.
You want to be a WB superstar? Show it to me.
Show it to me. Let me see you soil yourself. Come on, you want to pee? Anyways.
He introduces Drew, his guest, as the soon-to-be former WWE champion. Drew comes down. There's some futons and stuff there. He just chucks those around. Asks, all right, let's cut to the chase. Hey, MVP, where's Bob Lashley at? And MVP says, oh, he's not here. As I'd like to say, no contract, no contact. Lashley he's not going to be putting the full Nelson on you until Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
And then MVP references Drew's previous appearance on the VIP lounge post Royal Rumble, where MVP is like, "Hey, let me show you the ropes. I'll show you how to be a champion. You don't have to worry about any of this other stuff that goes on. This with my tutelage, you could focus on just being the best Drew McIntyre possible." MVP says, "I tried to be a friend, and you just hit me with the Claymore." And from that moment on, he knew two things: that Drew would be champion, and that MVP would be personally involved in Drew losing that belt. That was great.
Yeah, that
MVP
was really
goes
good.
on about taking Lashley 13 years to get a title shot. Drew says it took him 19 years to get a title shot. He won the main event of WrestleMania, beat Brock Lesnar to do it. Tells MVP he doesn't need anyone thinking for him, talking for him. He doesn't need someone like MVP kissing his ass.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then Drew says Lashley did say one thing correct last week. The only way he'll take that title is from his cold, dead hands. MVP says that can be arranged. Lashley comes down to ringside. Drew annihilates MVP with Claymore.
Then him and Lashley go walking back up the ramp. This was really, really well done. This was good. And Drew came out in some nice business casual clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And this was really good, man. This was really good stuff. I mean, I get the feeling that, there's Backlash and there's whatever July is going to be, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got two pay-per-views. This needs to be like Backlash and July, whatever the July thing is, to really get this Lashley stuff over. I mean, they booked Drew so strong that I'm not sure how you get Lashley. Lashley at some point needs to have the upper hand in some manner. They just booked Drew so strong, you know?
I know. And I hope this is a situation that, once Lashley has his program with Drew, doesn't come out on top. They continue on with his MVP Lashley stuff because I think it's been really good so far. Really good.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I love that later on they roped in the Street Profits, because there's nothing better than when they're able to sort of have these storylines cross paths. I love that. It's the best thing. It makes the entire show feel like it's all one thing going on.
A cohesive piece, yeah.
After that, we had a really bizarre Natalya interview, which she had to, it started, and then she had to stop to take a call from her husband, Tyson Kidd, real name TJ. And apparently he was giving her some shit about her apologizing earlier. And
the case.
And then she came back to her interview, and Charlie's like, "Sorry, we're out of time." Which
It was really weird.
Yeah. Okay. What are they doing with this?
Well, Joe keeps on going on and on a commentary about how Natalya is unprofessional based on her tantrums. And I guess and he said here, well, it's really unprofessional to step away from your allotted interview time to take a phone call from your husband. So I guess Natalya is becoming the unprofessional professional wrestler.
I feel like she is falling into some sort of Kafka-esque nightmare where she's losing every match. Every action she has is the wrong one. She is a very professional person, but everybody's saying she's not. Mm-hmm. This is weird. Mm-hmm. This was just weird.
It's weird.
I mean, is this their version of a crisis of confidence type thing?
It's more like a crisis of decorum.
Right. She she's at catering. She sneezes on the prime rib, ruins it for everybody.
Rather than using the giant fork to get the prime rib, she just grabs it with her hands. Just table, just eats it. No utensils. I don't know.
Goes to the restroom and just leaves the door open.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man. After that, we had Kevin Owens versus Angel Garza. Angel chop blocks. He breaks out, chop blocks Kevin Owens as he's walking down to the ramp. So, of course, Kevin Owens has a bad knee. Garza works over the knee. Knee ends up losing the match for Kevin Owens because he tries to, what did he do? Oh, he tried to go for a pop-up powerbomb in the end, but his leg gave out, and the pop-up part didn't work for him. And so Garza's able to get the wing clipper, and he got a clean win. Oh, well, clean.
I know.
I mean, he chop blocked him before the match started. So, but it was
he didn't break any rules though. So I guess
exactly.
Clean.
So this is good. It was like for him. It was like having sex with women. After that, we had a recap of the Street Profits War Raiders shenanigans. at this point, I'm sort of. I thought that this was like, I don't know. Last week was probably the best of them.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't mind this. You know why? They're bringing in some really weird, surreal elements to it.
The best part is in the background. Hanson's putting turkey legs over his golf clubs.
Okay,
Did you notice that?
Yeah, no, I didn't, but that's hilarious. When they transitioned to the mini golf and they were doing the conga line thing, or whatever that was, where they were all dancing together, that just was weird, and it made me laugh. I was like, why is this happening right now? But it's endlessly charming. The two teams have really good chemistry at this point. I mean, with all this stuff that they filmed, it's developed, and it's like, I don't even want to see them fight. They're just so charming when they interact with each other that I want to see them all as a big faction.
Yeah, exactly. So this time they're playing golf. Viking Raiders show up with a cooler, and it's not with drinks, it's a meat. Hanson pulls out a turkey leg, and then the golf course guy says no food on the course. Hanson is like all upset, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll take the cooler back, and he's putting turkey legs on top of his golf clubs. That was pretty great. So we get a montage of stuff. Street Profits know what they're doing on the golf course. War Raiders do not. Hanson hits someone with the ball. He gets in the cart. The tire gives out. Golf course guy kicks him off the course. They go to a pretty fancy looking mini golf place. That place looked pretty cool.
It looked nice. Yeah, it was a good one. And again, there's weird shenanigans going on. They're, doing what they can. Wasn't there like where was the gator? Was the gator in the mini golf or the big golf?
Yeah, I think it was a mini golf.
Yeah, there was the mini golf. So there was a gator at one point.
It was a little gator. Is that a gator or a caiman? Caimans are like little alligators.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if there's difference other than size. I don't know.
I have no idea. Anyways, they're mini golfing. The Profits are dominating because the Viking Raiders like don't know how this stuff works. And then Hanson sinks a 6-inch putt to finish the game. The Profits win. They're like, hey, your score is 144. Ours is 29. So of course the Viking Raiders, not understanding how pretty much anything normal works, start celebrating. But because it's golf, obviously the points are different. The lowest score, meaning the lowest number of times you've tried to hit a ball, is what wins. Then again, they go back to the surreal stuff where Hanson starts pulling like endless items out of the golf hole.
Yeah.
And it's like, one was like a wallet, and then
a red solo cup,
this
and then a
solo
turkey
cup, then a turkey leg. So I don't know. It's like, I'll be honest with you though. Once they actually get to the ring, I'll be like, man, cool. They're getting to the ring now.
Yeah. I mean, it's built anticipation, I suppose. It's
built up anticipation to see them fight.
Next we have MVP and Bob Lashley backstage. Lana meets up with them. She's got a bag of ice, and she's apologizing. MVP said, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. I'm sorry Drew kicked you in the face." And MVP's like, "Do you think this is a joke? We need to go back out there and send Drew a message right now. I don't have time for this. Yeah, he kicked me in the face, but here's your ice back." He and Lashley walk away, and of course Lana has to scream.
The line here that I hated that. The line here that I really liked was, "You think this is a joke? He gave me this Claymore as a message, not to you, not to me, but to Bob Lashley." He's like he's not like pissed because he got Claymored. He understands the game, and he's showing that, like, as a manager, that's what you want. You want a guy who understands how it goes. And that's like such a great detail they threw in there, him explaining the process, the game of chess that they're playing. I really like that.
Yeah, MVP's doing great work right now. We get a quick shot of Seth hyping up Buddy and Austin Theory before their match against Humberto Carrillo and Alister Black. This match didn't last super long, but it was plenty fun. The end sees Carrillo gets back into the ring, gets tagged back in, and Alister tags him in, goes to the opposite corner to do the moonsault thing out to Buddy. However, once Alister's up there, Buddy pushes him off to the floor. Carrillo goes for a moonsault on Theory, misses. He gets distracted by Buddy Murphy on the apron, kicks him, turns around, eats a TKO from Austin Theory. Then Seth says, "All right, go beat him up some more." Theory and Buddy, they just tossed the heck out of Alister into the timekeeper area. That was like a nasty bump.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
And they start beating up Humberto. Seth grabs a mic, tells Buddy and Austin that he needs to learn. They take Carrillo over to the corner of the ring steps, put his eye right in front of the corner. Seth says, "Hey, Alister," who's at this point back in the ring with the chair, "don't move or Humberto loses an eye." He tells them both need to back off, or everything Ray suffered will be for nothing. Seth tells Alister to drop the chair, get out of the ring. Alister complies because he doesn't want Humberto to lose an eye. He tells them, don't make him sacrifice them like he was forced to sacrifice Ray.
Yeah.
And essentially, he says, "Hey, back down, or I'm gonna take Humberto's eye, essentially, and maybe yours too, Alister."
Seth's performance here was so good,
Really good.
And the actual TV direction was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Seth was really good here.
This is good stuff. Afterwards, we had an Edge promo. He was sitting in like some sort of storage area, I guess,
Something like that.
But it was really well done. It was a nice close up on him, and he said Randy had caught him tongue tied a few weeks ago. Randy laid the bait. He bit, and now he finds himself doubting his own ability. He's like, "Can I hang as a wrestler with Randy?" Of course, Backlash being billed as the greatest wrestling match of all time. He said, he starts throwing out some numbers. He says, "I was retired for 3,012 days. And in that time, Randy has had over 1,000 matches." You think the numbers on that are right? Randy's had a match every 3 days?
Could be.
Maybe?
I mean, maybe.
Doesn't say much for the Randy Orton schedule. Anyways, he says he
That's
realizes...
over 9 years.
What's that?
That's over 9 years.
Yeah.
That's 100 and... It's like 2 matches a week, roughly.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad. So anyways, he wants to thank Randy that he didn't... he said he realized that he has to prove himself to himself. So he wants to thank Randy that he hadn't...
because now he's thinking of things he hadn't contemplated or he'd buried long ago.
Okay, yeah. I'm trying to make sense of your notes here.
Sense of my quickly typed notes, yes.
Yeah. So because you don't want to go by my memory, that's for sure. He said he got home and he gave a plug. He said, "I watched the first episode of The Last Ride and I saw myself pontificating on retirement." And he's like, "Of course, I filmed this before I came back." And he was like, "I doubt my ability." Or sorry, he said, "Randy doubts my ability. I have stood toe to toe with the greats." And he brings up, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect,
Kurt Angle,
Eddie, Kurt, all the greats. He says, "But now I don't know if," he says, "I've had to bring guys up to my level. I don't know if I can do it anymore, but a Backlash, I'm going to dig to the depths of my soul to try." I get the feeling that, I don't know, we might get like 15 minutes of a really great wrestling match, and then it's going to be ruined by Randy to get more heat on him. And he's going to blast him with a kendo stick and write him off TV maybe till SummerSlam or something.
Yeah. Next, Street Profits and Viking Raiders are backstage. The Viking Raiders try and convince Street Profits that they let them win at the golfing.
Mm-hmm. Just like basketball.
Ford says, "All right, let's just settle this once and for all. You pick the next challenge." And Hanson says, gator wrestling. Dawkins says, "Anything, just nothing to do with alligators." And then Ray Rose says, "What about bowling?" The Street Profits are like, "Bowling? All right, fine." But the Viking Raiders are acting like they knew something that Street Profits didn't. Anyways, They leave. MVP walks up
Street Profits aren't happy with bowling, though. They're like, you had to pick, of anything you had to pick, why bowling? They're not happy about that.
MVP walks up to Street Profits, gives them the business for worrying about golf rather than worrying about trying to be good champions.
Mm-hmm.
And Dawkins asks MVP, "What's your problem?" And MVP says, "I got no problem. I just don't mess around with clowns." Ford's asking how his face feels. Does he want any ice? And no, MVP does not want ice. He says, "Yeah, I got kicked in the face. But, hey, let's have a match tonight. I'll be fine. And if you're feeling up to it, maybe you'll put up the smoke. Or bring the smoke, sorry."
Yeah, again, more good stuff. And again, I really like that they're bringing the Street Profits in to a different story. I think it was good stuff. After that, this was a really terrific match. Charlotte versus Natalya versus Nia Jax. There was a lot going on here. There was a bit where Charlotte and Natalya got Nia Jax off the apron, powerbombed her through the announce table. Asuka was on commentary. She's fantastic.
The best.
I mean, God, if we could just get 50 of her in the crowd, Raw would be insanely
it'd be must-watch TV every week.
But that's like not even possible, so I shouldn't even suggest it. Anyways, fast forwarding to the end, Natty hits a Tower of Doom on. She's got Nia Jax on her shoulders. Charlotte's up at the top. They do a Tower of Doom spot.
Yeah. And Asuka's cheering on Natalya the whole time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Natalya is looking for a sharpshooter on Nia Jax. Charlotte rolls her up, gets a 2 right into a figure 4. Nia breaks it up with a leg drop on Charlotte. Nia follows with a Samoa drop on Natty for the win. So we're going to get Nia Jax versus Asuka at
we saw coming anyways. Yeah.
Backlash, which, that seemed kind of obvious anyways.
Yeah.
After that, we had Drew McIntyre interview. He was leaving, and he was like, well, I hadn't planned on Claymoring MVP, but he had it coming. And then Kayla tells Drew, Lashley and MVP versus the Street Profits tonight. And Drew's like, oh, I forgot something. And I might not find it until the night's over.
Yeah.
After
that, we
that,
had a 24/7 title update. First recap of Gronk winning the belt at Mania, and then R-Truth had a Twitter promo where he said he finally learned that Tom Brady is not champion, that Rob Gronkowski is champion. Then we get our first Gronk promo from a gym.
It was going fine when he had the sunglasses on, but then when he took them off and it became obvious he was reading cue cards, it was less good.
Yeah. Anyways, he tells Truth to bring it. He says that playing football and growing up with 4 brothers had prepped him to be ready for a fight at any time. He said our truth, more like our lies. Not a very good line. Pretty bad.
No, but he's Gronk. He's got other things on his mind. The season's coming up in 2023 or whatever. It's going to happen again.
Something like that.
After that, we had another MVP interview, and he's asked, why would you want to compete after eating a Claymore? And he points at Lashley and says, that's why. Man, he really makes his clients look like and feel like a
Hell
million
yeah,
bucks,
man.
Larson.
Hell yeah.
So it was announced that Ric Flair was going to be on Raw tonight to promote Edge versus Orton.
We're getting a Matt Chat question from Ric Flair.
We got a cameo video from Ric Flair, and he was like, woo, I've been in the ring with all the best. And but my guy, the best wrestler in the world, Randy Orton. This was so cheesy.
Yeah, it was pretty cheesy.
And that he thinks he's going to beat Edge.
He picks Randy Orton to win the greatest wrestling match of all time. Ever.
After that, we had a Liv Morgan promo where she talks about how the biggest stumbling block in her life was her own self-worth. She never felt good enough. She finally found what she was missing when she found the WWE. She doesn't have all the answers because life keeps changing all the questions. Although the performance here was decent, I just have no idea what I'm supposed to care about here. I don't know where it's going.
Same.
So, to be continued. I don't know. Maybe she should.
I guess so.
I don't know. I don't know what she should do.
I don't know either. 2 things announced for next week. Alister Black versus Seth Rollins. See what that match actually gets going. That should be fun. And then Rey Mysterio's retirement ceremony, emceed by Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
So we can't take it seriously.
No, he can't. After that, we had the main event, which was the Street Profits versus Lashley and MVP. The Profits had a promo? Why do I not remember that?
It was picture in picture, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did the picture. I remember that, yeah.
Backstage stuff that was earlier on, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's a rough landing. Ford gets pounced into the barricade. And that looks like a hit right in the back of his neck.
Ford was bumping left and right. It was awesome.
So he was really goofing off to begin the match. Like, he was laying that on thick.
Yeah.
And then he was isolated for basically forever.
You know what's funny though about his goofing off stuff? He's tempered it. He's I think he's like understanding now that like you can do more with a little bit less.
And also was motivated. He was in there goofing off because MVP just called him clown.
Yeah,
you want to see what a clown I am?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, right. He's been less like he used to I used to just not really be into it, but lately I've been like, it hasn't been annoying.
Mm-hmm. So Ford gets sent into the barricade, rough landing. Lashley follows by driving Ford to the ring post. We go to commercial, come back. Ford's still isolated. He eventually, though, does get a tag to Angela Dawkins. Dawkins takes it to MVP, takes a shot at Lashley. knocks him off the apron, and then Ford basically like spears Lashley into the barricade. So that allows Profits hit their finish. Ford makes the cover. Lashley runs in to break it up. He just basically picks up Ford and puts him right in the full Nelson. Doesn't release the hold within the 5 count. Ref DQs him because he's not the legal man.
It's a clever way to finish that match. I thought that was a good way to finish that match.
Lashley's not letting go. Drew comes out. He hits the ring. He and Lashley have a brawl. Drew's on top of him, ground and pound. Ref's like, all right, come on, we need some backup. But, there's no security there. There's just NXT talents. So, I don't know, like 4, 6 of them come right into the ring to break it up. Drew fights them all off. But Lashley hits a spear. Ground and pound from him. Ref calls for more backup. 6 or 8 more developmental talents. They all get tossed out of the ring. And then even more into the ring, trying to separate them as we go off air. It's a decent enough brawl.
Yeah, no, that was a good Raw, all things considered. Alex Foster, let's answer some questions.
Sure.
Alex Foster, how much longer until this crowd goes into business for themselves? We really should have a Nexus type invasion when this is all said and done.
That'd be something else, man.
Led by what's his name? Who's the guy who looks like NWO Dexter Loomis? It was he was in UK. He was there tonight.
Oh yeah, Ridge Holland.
Thank you. Yeah, Ridge Holland. Yeah.
Someone mentioned him in chat earlier.
Yeah.
Mean Green 49. Who do you guys think will end up turning face against Rollins? Buddy Murphy or Austin Theory?
It should be Austin Theory. I've heard he works great face, but I've never seen it before.
Give me Buddy Murphy.
All right. Andrew Berg. I mean, the thing about Buddy Murphy is that he's so far into the deep, it's not realistic. He has disciple written on the side of his pants. He was wearing literally Seth Rollins' stand gear last week.
Tron, I know. I know, it's Tron. It was great.
Andrew Berg. Should Randy versus Edge be shot in the same vein as Gargano Ciampa to give it more important feel? If not, what else should they do to elevate the match? This is all I want. I would do this. Don't shoot it that way. Keep it in the ring because it's supposed to be a wrestling match, right? Yeah, use the nicer camera. But film it the way you would a typical WWE match. But you put one spotlight above them.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if they're touting it as the greatest match maybe ever, then you got to approach it as your usual pro wrestling match because that's what Randy Orton wants.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do that. Yeah, I think even from a photographic standpoint, if you do it cinematically, well, this isn't pro wrestling as we're accustomed to seeing it.
Right.
That's what Randy wants. He wants a standard wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
Photograph it as such. Rand Wildman. Hopefully Ray shows up in a salmon-colored mask.
Oh, there you go.
Or shout out to Mark Henry.
That's good.
In the salmon jacket.
Shane McCarthy, how do you feel about the hockey board type plexiglass for the crowd? One other thing that I liked about it was on the entrance, it like makes the lasers more reflective. It just makes the entrance look cooler too.
Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to just in terms of that being there.
I was fine with that. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's not bad. It's just going to take some getting used to. Night by night. In kayfabe, who in WWE paid for Flair's cameo and what was the attached message? Well, it seems like Randy Orton paid for it. Hey, Nature Boy, I want you to do a cameo for me and put me over in this Edge match.
Hi, Mr. Flair. Big fan. In a couple weeks, I have a wrestling match with my friend Edge. Can you please tell him that I'm going to win this? Woo!
Mr. Forbes, I know it's a Raw recap. Did you see that Marty showed up at the end of the latest being the Elite that dropped today? I did see that.
Spoiler alert, please. That's cool. Ring of Honor, AEW. I wonder Ring of Honor's like, hey, can we do like a talent exchange? And in exchange, we'll let you use footage of your very first pay-per-view. That's got to suck, not being able to use all-in footage.
I know. And they say, well, like, who are we giving up in exchange? Whoever's fine. Kenny.
Yeah.
Say what? Kenny? Did you say Kenny? Hangman. Did you say Hangman?
Yeah. Jericho. Can we get Jericho and Mox in Ring of Honor? That's a lot to ask for. Well, we have all in. And by the way, we financed the very beginning of your company. You owe us everything.
Dang MQ, you guys surprised at how well Nikki Cross is being used since her NXT call-up? Yeah.
Yes.
What happened to Sanity?
Shocked.
Yes.
actually shocked. White Brownie says, you guys see Adam Cole was at the AEW Memorial Day party? Man, I want to get in close with freaking Tony Khan. I want to go to that party. It looked cool. I want to go to a rich guy's party, man. It's probably amazing.
It probably is.
Probably has some really good food, some good drink.
Was there pictures on Twitter?
Yeah. Britt Baker didn't have anything on her legs, man.
I noticed that.
No,
but I didn't see Adam Cole in any of those pictures.
Oh, I didn't see Adam Cole either. I just saw a bunch of other pictures from the party. I mean, I was like, oh, I wonder where he is.
Dale Cooper, this is an interesting question. Was the Garza interview a weird band-aid to cover an edit? Like they use that as coverage for an edit, but the match seemed to continue just fine in terms of continuity on the TV behind him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible. I would have thought just like it's possible. It has to be one massive edit though. I mean, maybe they had to like stop something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think they can just like throw to some other shot of a random shot of somebody in the crowd.
Exactly. That should be sufficient coverage. Neat Kyle, good morning, friendos. Getting ready for work. Can I get a happy birthday for yours truly? And for what reason is WWE claiming Edge versus Orton is going to be the greatest wrestling match ever? First, happy birthday, Neat Kyle.
How many birthdays do you guys have? I swear to God, it was Neat Kyle's birthday just yesterday.
I don't believe so. Why are they calling it the greatest wrestling match ever? Because it's a troll. They're trolling us. This could be a pretty decent pro wrestling match, and then Randy Orton's going to ruin everything.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if they actually had their greatest wrestling match of all time, though?
That'd be something else.
8 stars.
That would be something else.
Owen Lynch just finished The Last Dance and realized Vince should just cut a promo on Jordan to get him into WWE. He'd be so angry he'd make himself the greatest wrestler ever.
Could be.
So you got to do, man.
Be. Sky Otonic, if you guys had a time machine to go back to the 80s, who would you bring back? It says no wrestlers that were in the 80s, but then singles and tag teams, so I assume it has to be wrestlers from the 80s. If you can bring one wrestler and one tag team back from the 80s to wrestle now, who would it be?
Road Warriors.
And?
Well, could you do that with Animal still alive?
That might make it difficult.
Would that like warp physics?
Maybe.
I'd bring back.
I'd bring back Macho Man, the British Bulldogs.
Okay, those are good answers. I like that.
Gareth asks, when we return to crowded arenas, do you think the plexiglass will remain as a precaution? I think the only way we're going back to consistently crowded arenas if there's vaccine, something like that.
I think that in the end, normal is normal and plexiglass will be gone. But it wouldn't surprise me. I do think that there's going to be a transitionary period where, when Florida says you can have, like Japan's doing, you can have 50%, which I really don't think isn't that far away. You can have 50% capacity up to X number, There will probably be plexiglass, but then eventually that'll disappear when there's vaccine or enough, medication or whatever it is, treatment, whatever.
Yeah.
Johnny Compton, would you rather have to sing Sexy Boy every time you meet someone's girlfriend, wife, mom, etc., or have to perform Rick Rude's entrance promo every time you meet somebody's boyfriend, husband, or dad? I'd rather sing Sexy Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, hey, Steve. Come over here, Steve. This is my girlfriend. I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. Hey, what's your face?
No, Skyotonic said no the other way, so I'm really confused by his question. If you guys had a time machine to go back to the 1980s, who do you bring back? No wrestlers that were in the 80s, though.
Oh, so we'd have to take a wrestler from now and bring him back to the 80s?
Is that what it is?
Nobody that was wrestling back then?
Oh, okay. The other way, then. All right.
Braun Strowman would be a huge star in any era. In fact, the further back you go, the bigger star he'd be.
So would Brock.
Brock would be huge in like the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and probably the 60s. Once he like the 70s and 80s, he's not flamboyant enough. I mean, he would be. He would be. I'm just saying, I don't know if he's like colorful enough for the 80s.
I don't know. Bath and Body Works, no question, but I feel like Larson needs to put a photo of Steve on his wall to balance out the photo of Larson on Steve's wall. Kind of trippy, because you got the banner behind you of me, but to get a photo of your head of comparable size, it would take up this whole back wall of my bedroom. Fortunately, I can't do that. Don't even say it. I'm looking at you, Steve. Don't even say it. I know you want to, and if you say it, the VCR is getting blown up directly.
Mum's the word. Mum's the word. Lacey. I'll do it later.
Stop.
Blake Whitehouse. Do you think Liv's character is being directed towards people who are just graduating and are scared and anxious about going into the world? I don't know. I have no idea what her character is. That's as good as answer as any.
Ryan K. Lamb. Why would it be funny if WWE deep faked the Orton Edge match and just imposed their faces over an Okada Omega match?
That'd be fantastic. That'd be great.
Pretty good.
Deep fake is the best. Mike Demopoulos. So is Austin Theory's gimmick guy who doesn't fit in any group? I know he kicked He kicked Buddy Murphy in the face today. P.S. With that jacket, can we call him the NWO disciple? Or is it NWO disciple? I think Buddy Murphy is NWO disciple. Austin Theory is NWO disciple.
Okay.
Thomas Dunnigan. Who will be the first wrestler to be smashed against a plexiglass?
Someone's got to go through it at some point.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yeah. O-Dog, what do y'all think of the NBA 16-team playoffs crossover? Predictions for finals and champions. Man, I don't know if that's even going to happen.
Well, Lakers had the best record in the West, right?
Yeah.
And
I think
Milwaukee in the East?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your
odds-on
finals.
favorite then. Tina?
Or Tanak? Tanak is at Weirdo. I don't know what that means.
Nothing hypes a match like Panic at the Disco. Just saying, lol. You a Panic at the Disco fan?
I like one of their songs.
Yeah.
I think it's Panic at the Disco.
Which song was it called? Do you know?
Yeah, High Hopes. I like that song. What? It's catchy. Oh, you're so, with your musical knowledge, so judgy.
It is Tina, so that's good to know.
What's that?
It is Tina.
Is what? Oh, it's Tina? Okay. Let's see here. Local Doug Kokel. Who is the alpha female backstage leader like The Undertaker? Natalya, Charlotte, or someone else?
I mean, I could see Charlotte being that personality.
It's got to be Charlotte or Natalya, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. Flats in Orton versus Edge. What's more likely, a 60-minute classic or finger poke of doom 2.0? Well, I don't foresee any sort of finger poke of doom situation, so I guess it's got to be a 60-minute classic to be the two. Bodyworks says, Big Head Steve in Larson's bedroom equals next pay-per-view punishment for Larson. What's worse, that or neck tattoo? Neck tattoo wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I again, seemingly I can't lose, so I don't know how long we're gonna be able. Like, I think the next punishment will probably be SummerSlam to give you some time to not lose punishments.
Don't.
Yeah, I even called Apollo Cruz winning tonight.
Don't take pity upon me because I can't win predictions. If this is what we're gonna do it every time. If we're not gonna do it, then we're not gonna do it.
Well, I do think
Period.
that there's some space between punishments is probably a good idea to make them special. But at the same time, I also understand that I don't want you to be grumpy and upset all the time.
I'm grumpy and upset all the time anyways. What
I have
the hell
to
does it matter?
manage your personality sometimes.
You don't have to manage anything. You need to manage keeping your mouth shut about having your wife talk to my wife.
Wow.
You need to manage.
Listen, man, I won't say that, but I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it.
If you say that, I know what it means. So stop.
Oh,
Dang
man.
him, Q. If Cal ever wins predictions, do both of you have to do punishments? I guess so.
We don't have to worry about that because Cal's never going to win punishments. Or predictions, rather.
He was close once.
He was so close. I'm joking.
Close to Mania,
I
man.
say that because I know he's listening. Anyways, is that it for us, Larson?
Sure.
All right, we got some business to take care of real quick before we leave. Thanks once again to Raycon for sponsoring today's episode. Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds offer up to 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a compact, comfortable design that gives you a great noise isolating fit.
My Raycons have become my go-to pair of earbuds to wear while I'm working out or recording a podcast like we're doing right now. They're stylish. They don't have any dangling wires to deal with, and they sound great. You can start at half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market. Pick up a pair and see what all the hype is about.
Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Right now, get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/raw. That's buyraycon.com/raw for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/raw. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, rather. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.